A very good day to you and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jedel Kabir. So glad that you've joined us once again for our political conversation with the hard-hitting, the unbiased Prof. Herman Manyora. Great to see you. How are you doing today?
Good.
You know, when I've said unbiased, I just remember the comments that come nowadays.
Yes.
As if you are affiliating, leaning towards government side.
Yes.
Is this how Kenyans should speak when we're looking at abductions, that Kenya is not going anywhere? Things are safe?
People are free to think they are. That's the beauty of this world. People think the way they want to think, and I can't stop them from thinking anything. But the objective reality, I'm the last man standing. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Anybody have been within this space, they have yielded to government. They have collapsed under the heat. Everybody knows Manyora is the last man standing. To say that I'm leaning towards government is a joke.
You know,
I'm the last man standing.
I know.
I don't have to insult anybody. I don't have to say bad things about Ruto government. But I'm the last man standing.
What is the place
Because
now?
remember that man, that minister, governor now, he told me politics has become very transactional. Manyora, you are a man. You are the last man standing. So anybody say me, I'm leaning towards anybody. They just don't know how to read situations and understand things.
Nyinyi ndio mnaitwa wajinga, mjui kuchukua pesa.
Yeah, sisi ndio. Yeah. So, but we are okay the way we are. God has brought me this far. I cannot mess myself. You know, sometimes I look at people, they have come far. Towards the tail end, they mess themselves because of money and other small things like positions. So, well, people are free to think what they want to think.
Tell me this, what is the place now, if you look at the opposition when it comes to criticizing a government? You know, there's this abductions, everyone is saying Ruto must go. But I've asked you that because how should we criticize government now? Is it a matter of saying this whole dispensation should leave, or is it a matter of saying this is where you can correct? Especially now when you're looking at, even yesterday, abduction of a Tanzanian journalist here in the country, released after a lot of calls, Amnesty, BBC reporting. There's the Besigye case, there's the Turkish nationals from this country. How do we talk about this?
And there was Muturi again.
And then there's Muturi actually. We'll talk about the abduction of his son. But how should opposition speak now? Is it a clarion call for
I want to help
Ruto
Kenyans understand this thing. There are stages in opposition and in criticizing and matters of governance. There is a stage where people don't talk. Either they are too docile, or they live in absolute fear, or they're just complacent. They are just slaves or serfs in Russia. I made reference in one of my shows to Russia, but then confused with the French Revolution. Somebody pointed out to me, Marie Antoinette was a French queen, wife to Louis XVI. But the same story I was saying. People are either too complacent, okay with anything, or they live under such a fear, or they have been conditioned over years, and they don't question anything. In fact, they think it's okay. In fact, in Europe, during medieval periods and the rest of the times, the king was a king by divine right. So how could you question? So there are those stages where, there's that stage where nobody questions, for a number of reasons. Then there's a stage where people begin to talk, but in fear, and with not much information. Because then at that stage, government controls information. The days of Moi and Kenyatta. All information was from government, KBC and the rest. So even if you wanted to criticize, you can't criticize without information. Then that grows and moves into some serious criticism. People criticize, push government, and make modest achievements. Moi gives in, IPPG, Moi gives in, let us do multi-party, Moi gives in, and so on and so forth. The new constitution. But then people also realize that doesn't take them, because people are those in power cannot think of the new order. That's what is happening. That's where we are now. So then people increase the push, the criticism, and they get to the stage where we are. This is a very good stage for all of us, where people are now pushing hard and are willing to risk to be jailed, to be killed, and anything like that, things of that nature. It's a very good stage. Ask me why. The reason is, beyond this stage, there is anarchy. Okay. There is disaster. So if as a country, we don't take the meaning of this stage in and rectifies and change our ways, the next phase is anarchy.
So it's a good stage and still a bad stage.
It's a very good stage. It's a wake-up call for all of us to know that the next, nobody's in control, not Ruto, not Manyora, not you. Nobody will be in control of what is going on. The next stage, these are things that move with their own momentum. The next stage is a stage of anarchy. You'll read history. In the stage of anarchy. Yeah.
And my question was specifically towards how to oppose or how to criticize. Because you're saying the next step is anarchy, then
Yes.
if the president is not seeing the next stage, is criticizing an option or is getting him out of office the best option?
You know, so many things are happening now. People are criticizing. People are pushing. And the president is pushing back. Something must give way. That's what I'm trying to say. Something will give.
You know, you listen to Oscar Sudi. He says, look, anaenda wapi? The guy served for 24 years, Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru.
Yeah,
Then huyu ataenda
that's
wapi?
it. He forgets that Kenyatta was there until 1978. Moi was there until 2002. You can't relive those times now. Things have changed. Sudi himself with his children in the house, even the way they are treating him, when inamunaita character development. It's what mchapa hiyo. Yeah, alichapa baba yake character development. The things your children and grandchildren tell you today, you can't imagine. You can't. You realize you are living in a different world. So if Sudi and the rest don't realize, that's their problem. The unfortunate thing is that it's a few people who are unable to see that then cause society upheavals. Because when the trouble comes, it comes for all of us.
We'll circle back to opposition, but...
And when I say like that, then people say Manyora now is pro-government. I'm just saying, this push, it must produce results. In the absence of which, we will inevitably move to the next stage of anarchy.
Someone was telling me if...
Anarchy to mean there will be disaster.
If Raila Odinga spoke, marched people against abductions, zingekuwa zimeisha. Why is the opposition now, the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka, trying so hard to fight against it, but there are no results? What would you attribute this to? Lack of strategy or lack of support from people?
You know, again, there is that which people are used to. People are using to opposition Raila, opposition Raila. So it takes people a little while to see opposition without Raila. That's it. It's just as simple as that. There's nothing else.
So what Kalonzo is doing and Wamalwa...
You see, people are looking at them just seeing like they're jokers. That's why I said they don't listen. I said they must employ a different strategy. They can't match Kenyans in the streets unless something very bad has happened. Like these abductions can cause havoc. You can abduct somebody like that lady. If she was abducted, I think she was abducted.
She was and then released.
If she died in the abduction by accident or something like that. You saw there was a car trying to block, a bus trying to block them from, supposing that vehicle hit and she died. Things like those can cause upheaval. They can burn a country. So, Kalonzo is trying to use the path that can only be used by people like Raila and Ruto. He can't succeed. He has to change his strategy. It can't be about pushing government in the manner in which Raila does, because people are used to Raila. Kusikia tu baba, baba, kuisha.
But you said
so Kalonzo cannot be baba. He can't.
He needs to find his own strategy.
He has to, yes, and there are many strategies. The problem with Kenyans, they listen to their own voices and to those who echo those voices around them. If you move next to him and say something different, tomorrow your chair will be removed. When you go in the room, there's no chair for you. I've been with these people, I know them. They are used to listening to themselves.
And those who
echo what they think and feel. But if someone stood there and told them, let's go this direction, they will hate him.
You've said the big problem in government is that they are not feeling what Kenyans are feeling.
Yes.
And you look at CS Muturi says his son was abducted. Should it get to that point? Because Kenyans are saying that pain that Kenyans are feeling, you have to feel that pain. There's a pastor who was saying, the child that was abducted, I pray that your child too gets abducted by Kenyans so that you feel that pain, Mr. President. Is that the point where we're heading to?
We are in that space now. When we are in the space where we are now, all these things will happen. Like a minister standing to criticize his government.
Imagine.
That's not normal. Is it normal?
Not at all.
Yeah. Abductions will continue because a government that is not listening to the people will do all these things we are seeing and witnessing. Because the dictator's trap is you get to a point where you have a very limited view of the world. You see only those things which those around you allow you to see. So you see Kenya only in a very narrow way. You see Kenya in terms of you being the president. And if all efforts are geared towards maintaining your presidency. So you would then get up to very, very ridiculous levels in preservation and defense of the status quo. That's why people will keep wondering, how come these guys are not seeing? How come they are not seeing? They will not see.
Are we looking at a situation of mass exits from government?
It's possible.
You look at CS Muturi, it's as if he's getting a lot of pressure, probably from home, even from his children, probably from his wife, and his village mates too.
Yes.
Are we looking at mass?
We are at a place where I will not be surprised even if the deputy president resign. That's where we are now. The space we are in is a dangerous space. It is good because it gives you an opportunity to make last-minute efforts to salvage what is already gone. The country is gone. We don't have a country. This country is gone. But God is giving us space where we are now. All these excesses you are seeing are supposed to open the eyes. Pharaoh, you remember Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Yes, let my people go, Pharaoh.
Plague after plague.
Yes,
after plague.
that's where we are. I don't know why Kenyans are not seeing. Hii ni wakati wa Farao. Sasa ni plagues zinachapa watu. Zinachapa. Sasa kila mtu anachapa. Ruto anachapa, vijana wanachapa. Hizi ni maplague. Unakumbuka Moses Pharaoh alitoa fimbo akachapa chini na kuwa nyoka.
Yeah.
Musa anachapa yake. Ukistajabu ya Musa utayaona ya Firauni. Yeah, that's where we are. We must tell Kenyans and our leaders and Gen Zs, we are occupying a space now which God has given us. Open your eyes. All of you Kenyans, open your eyes. You are about to lose your country. Whatever is left of it will go.
At the end of it all, Pharaoh had to let the Israelites go.
Yes.
Are we going to look to have that situation where Ruto will have to yield to the pressure of Kenyans? Will that be the end, end of it all?
You know, it was God who was working on Pharaoh. Gen Zs are not God.
But they say the voice of the people is the voice of God.
Yes, the voice of the people is the voice of God, but it's not God. So, the people will push Ruto. And the Ruto, I know, may not very easily yield. But I pray that both sides get the information and the message I'm passing across. This is the last chance you have to save the country. Let it not be said, some of us didn't say it. We have lived our life. There's nothing we are looking forward to. But we have children and grandchildren. And we are only telling people like Ruto and the rest, and the Murkomen and the Ishungwa, and the Gen Zs, all of them put together, I'm only telling them, the game you are playing is too dangerous for the country. Both sides, the dangerous game they are playing, will lose this country very easily.
Maybe if the president did the right thing, we wouldn't have this game.
It's very easy, and I've said how I wish the president granted me audience for just 1 hour. I just wish and pray. Why can't God work through Ruto? Aseme tu Manyora, hii mambo umekuwa ukisema, enyewe kuja tukunywa chai na we. 1 hour. I am sure I will convince the president. There is nothing for him to fear. Even the people pushing him from outside, he can deal with them without losing them, and without losing his people, and without losing the country. You get it?
Yeah.
I know the pressure is not from within alone. The pressure comes even from outside, the globalists and the rest of those people with their global agenda. You can, because where they come from, their countries are intact. They have to leave our countries also be intact. We can still grudgingly accept and do some of the things they want. But in the process, we should not lose our country. So if I start with the president for 1 hour over a cup of tea, being a lawyer, and the president does not drink, so we shall be on the same wavelength. Yeah. Mimi nitasaidia president. I wish just God landed on Ruto. Maybe in his sleep. And told him, there's an old man in this country called Manyora. Look for him. Sit down with him. He has talked for so many years about this country. And looking at him, obviously he loves this country. And he has nothing against you. Just call him over a cup of tea. And when I leave State House, or wherever that will be, this country may never be the same again.
Thanks for tuning in to that conversation with the Patriot at Heart, Herman Manyora. That's his WhatsApp bio. Thanks for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day. Ukistaajabu ya Musa, utayaona ya Firauni.